Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 307.
307.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Save up to 25% still on rooms at select resorts. And this is available most nights through September 30th, depending on availability, of course, at Walt Disney World. So much is happening, not only at Walt Disney World, but Disneyland. They just announced the Oogie Boogie Bash Halloween party. That sounds like a lot of fun, moving over to Disney California Adventure. And of course, Disneyland Paris has all kinds of new stuff that's coming later this year as far as entertainment. And then Walt Disney World, we have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and the Food and Wine Festival and pretty much, gondolas.
And Halloween.
And Halloween. There's a lot going on everywhere. So check out MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. They are very big on all Disney. They are Disney specialists.
And we're going to start this week's show over at Epcot. We haven't been here in a number of weeks, and it's always great to be back just in time for another one of their plantings.
Yeah, I think this week I was over there twice, so it was really nice to get back. And we're looking at the flower bed, the flower quilt, and they have different plantings, at least two, because they start out with like winter plants and now they go to springtime plants. And I don't know if they go to like summer plants later. So we'll see, but the colors are totally different.
Well, one of the main reasons we were back over at Epcot was for the Egg-stravaganza. And of course, we had to play that. This just recently came out just in time for Easter. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the game?
Well, we haven't even finished this one yet. We only did like 4 because we went very early when World Showcase wasn't even open yet. So we are going to show
we're going to show 4 spoilers.
All 4 spoilers.
That's
all
right.
the ones we've done so far. So the Egg-stravaganza costs $6.99, but you can get a pass holder discount. So we get 20% off of that, and then you get a prize. And then you go and look for the Easter eggs. They have it. The eggs have not changed since they started this.
Right. Same eggs, but they put them in different places.
Well, they put them on a nest as well, which I don't remember that from before. So they can be inside or they can be outside. And we're going to see one inside one. And I know that there's at least one more.
So while we're there doing the Easter egg hunt, we noticed some changes over at the International Gateway.
Right. So there have been some changes so far, but not too much yet. But because of the Disney Skyliner, there is a lot going on. This area is going to be expanded and the entrance is going to be different. There's going to be quite a bit different soon. So you can see it's almost like that little white tent. That's the entrance to the park from the International Gateway right now. Security you can't see in this shot. But here I actually walked out and walked back in because I wanted to kind of show what it looked like. I wrote up an article about it that's on Mousesteps right now.
We will link to that, of course.
And here you can see walking in, and there's like a fence that separates the arrivals and the departures. And again, I mean, you're kind of in the park now when you are entering the park. At least this is where, the park was before. So anyway, they're going to be working on this probably for a while. It wasn't some big deal to go in and out. It wasn't hard, so I'm just letting everyone know that.
Well, I think we'll definitely have to keep up on that. It'll be a change and a welcome change because I think you'll see a lot more people coming in once they get the Skyliners all up and running. So they need all that extra room.
Well, that used to be the quiet entrance, so now expect it to be much busier in a number of months once the Skyliner comes.
So let's get back to the Easter egg hunt. And here we are in one of our favorite areas. It's France. And we're going to actually walk inside. This is the first time I have ever seen an Easter egg inside one of the countries before. And I believe it is Daisy Duck.
Have they not been? I know we've done other scavenger hunts where there were...
In Mexico, yes, I believe. But not eggs. I don't think eggs.
Yeah, you know what? I don't remember because they start blending. So I don't remember if the eggs were inside before or not. But you just know that if you end up doing the Easter egg hunt, you may have to go inside and look. Mexico's been pretty popular as far as putting things to find inside now.
Well, this is one thing I definitely know. This is the first time we've seen an Easter egg in Future World, and it's one of my favorite eggs over here at Taste Track.
Taste Track.
Well, it's also at the Test Track area, but you're correct when you say Taste Track because he's right above it.
I don't think I've ever bought anything at Taste Track. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't remember if I've ever bought anything
It
there.
rotates.
Yes.
Gourmet. It always is gourmet, whatever they sell there.
ice
they say it
cream,
is.
or I don't even know what it is right now.
But here he is. It's Figment himself. And what I like about Figment in this location is you can actually see the back. I don't believe I've ever seen his wings before.
I really like that, so I thought that was a really, that they thought to actually put a back on him when a lot of times you wouldn't see it. So here we are in Mexico, and the Story of Coco show that's been running. The first day of the show, which was the first day of the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, was crazy. And there weren't cast members there to, keep the crowds moving past it. So now they put the tape up, and now they have the cast members. And I'm not there usually in the afternoon when the show is going, so I don't know, if it's still a little crazy or not. But when I have seen it, it's usually earlier, and the cast members just kind of wave everybody past. So it certainly has been a little bit easier on everybody.
Yeah, much better. I think that was a great idea. Now we're over in Norway, and we're about to venture into another indoor location to search for another chocolate Easter egg. Well, I don't know if it's chocolate.
No, it's
Probably
not
isn't chocolate.
It's not.
I would say no chocolate. No chocolate. I'm thinking of the Grand Floridian.
Yes, and those are not, hidden. Those are out on display,
Correct.
and we'll see them again on Sunday. On Easter. So here is Dale, and Dale is in, is it the fjording? Probably, that's probably how you call it. But we ended up also riding Frozen Ever After. I somehow got a ride.
Yeah, you
the
got a
day
fast
before.
pass.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
It was
and
shocking.
It was very fun as always. Elsa still has her multicolored hair there.
Yes, and here I am. Jeff said I didn't put them on quite right, but I don't
I
like.
did.
Yes, you did. Yes,
It was
you
just,
did.
it was not, it was a little
It
off.
wasn't. It
Just a
wasn't.
little off.
It wasn't perfect. So yeah, there.
Well, I didn't show the really off one.
So you got another map. And
Yes, because we got the Dumbo egg. The Dumbo egg was
Yes.
adorable, and then you said, if you're getting the Dumbo egg, you should probably get the Timothy egg
that isn't
too.
what I said. You said
Timothy Mouse.
You didn't like how I put them on, so I'm like, well, you should go ahead and get another one. And you're like, well, what character would I get? I'm like Timothy Mouse, obviously, if you've got Dumbo.
So let's talk about the new Epcot Forever fireworks show that's going to be replacing one of our favorite shows of all, which we just saw again last night, Illuminations, Reflections of Earth.
Right. Illuminations is going to close on September 30th, and then October 1st will be Epcot Forever, which is just a temporary show into 2020 when the next one will come. And it's got fireworks, or it will have fireworks and laser effects and choreographed kites. So we'll see. And I think classic Epcot songs. And I think a lot of us may end up loving this one more than the next one.
Well, that's the most important thing, having that classic Epcot music. And you saw before they're going to have illuminated kites. And that reminds me of a show that was in place for Walt Disney World's 20th anniversary called Surprise in the Skies. And that show involved kites. Kites with being pulled by boats out on the World Showcase Lagoon there. And this very much reminds me of the concept art we just saw. And I think I'm going to show it again. And I think it'll be really cool. It'll remind us all of Epcot history. There it is. So you can see the boat there pulling the kites. They'll be lit up nighttime kites. So that'll be even more exciting.
And this only lasted for 1 year. Like, I looked it up. I don't even remember it. And Japan, I think, uses kites as well. Tokyo Disney.
I will have to post the video. Surprise in the Skies. Do you remember Skylidoscope, which was another daytime show on the lake?
I don't. It's terrible that I don't.
I know you remember this.
Yes, I do. Tapestry of Nations and Tapestry of Dreams, which I didn't remember lasted a full 4 years in World Showcase. And so it was a really, really nice parade.
You're seeing a picture of the Sage of Time, and he was sort of the, I guess, the leader of the parade. It was a really wonderful, one of the first interactive parades, because the cast members that were controlling them would sometimes reach down and shake your hand with the character, something that you saw later on at the Artemis parade at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
And other ones as well. I mean, we've seen this, but the Tapestry of Nations was, they said, the spiritual centerpiece of the Millennium Celebration. And then you had the large puppets, and you had dancers and drummers.
And, of course, the Millennium Village.
And I don't remember that much about it, except I remember Israel it was like a ride. It wasn't probably anything fancy, but they had Saudi Arabia, and they had Scotland, and they had Israel. I mean, I guess there were...
And Jerusalem. Can you imagine all of these places right next to each other in harmony?
And Brazil, and I don't even remember all of them being here now. I remember Israel again because there was some kind of an attraction in here, and I thought you sat and it moved around and all that.
So we bring all of this up because I think Epcot, I think the Illuminations Reflections of Earth is the last remaining element of the Millennium Celebration. So it'll be bittersweet to see it go, but I really am looking forward to the Epcot Forever show.
And I still think a World Showplace as Millennium Village and still kind of part of that.
You call it that sometimes.
Yes, I still call it Millennium Village. And they brought us the best bathrooms and the biggest bathrooms at Walt Disney World, which
That's
is
true.
really the best part of the whole, Millennium Celebration at this point. Not
Sure,
really.
that's what they were going for. The world's greatest bathroom.
But the 2000 you can see here, I never liked the wand on the Spaceship Earth. It's been over 10 years since that disappeared, and it's hard to believe it's been that long now because I had Mousesteps at the time, and I would go like every day when they were taking that wand down and take pictures of it.
Well, remember there were two wands actually. The one that said 2000, and then the other one said Epcot in
Yes.
case you forgot where you were.
And that's the one that I took pictures of coming down.
I remember that. Anyway, now we're going to move on to Jaleo over at Disney Springs.
So Jaleo opened a couple weeks ago now. You went to the big party,
Grand opening.
and I just had dinner there.
Just
Last week I had
4
dinner
hour,
there.
4 hour
4 hour dinner.
extravaganza.
Jaleo is from Jose Andreas, and you've probably seen his name in the news so much for helping like Puerto Rico and different places, even during the Washington, D.C. when everybody was furloughed. So I think he's pretty amazing to help so many people. So we just saw some paella. They have the most exquisite food. And this is Jose's taco, and I tried a little bit of that also
which is amazing because you never eat this kind of thing.
No, you know what? I tried things and like things that I never expected to. What is that one? I'm not even sure what that is because I don't think I had it.
Yeah, that is some kind of bread with cheese and sauce. I don't even remember the exact names of all this stuff, but let me tell you, it was everything I had was outstanding. This was the head-on shrimp, and I think you had a version of the head-on shrimp, which I know you didn't try. I did try this, and this is right up there with the shrimp that I've had in France, and they serve. This is how it's served over there whenever we go to a buffet.
I believe.
Yes, with a paella. Correct.
So I just want to mention about the paella. They have 5 different types, but only 2 are served nightly. This is one of the big reasons to come to Jaleo.
And in honor of Easter, we're looking at some rabbit paella there, which was actually quite good. Did not taste like chicken.
And that, again, that's something that you wouldn't have. They wouldn't have it every night. So I don't think you'll know ahead of time which 2 paellas they would have. They have a vegetable one. They have, I think, one with lobster, and then one with shrimp.
With lobster?
Yes, there's
I
all
did not
kinds
know.
of different ones.
We need to go right back to Jaleo.
I had the vegetable. So we're just kind of looking at this Spanish-themed restaurant, which is gorgeous. It's 2 levels. I somehow missed the foosball table. We have Jose Andreas, who was talking for a little bit when you were there, and he just seemed really thankful. And this is the 5th location of Jaleo. He's going to have 6. Dubai's coming.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
So this is the largest, and look how many people, and I recognize some of those who are down there.
Yes, you do. Well, anyway, this was the end of my little video update. Why don't you talk about some of the food you had in your 4-hour dining extravaganza?
I know I was invited to lunch, and I wasn't expecting it was going to be 4 hours. And I didn't try everything, so I'm just going to talk a little bit generally about some of the food. There is a lot of pork, and it isn't just pork. Obviously, there's seafood, and there's chicken, and there's a little beef. But there is especially, and I think it's called ham bun. It's ham.
Mm-hmm. With the caviar they served.
Yes, and that was Jose's taco, and it's like butter. And I had, it was an ultimate gin and tonic, which I thought was excellent. And also they had a salt air margarita, which others tried. I don't really drink tequila as much anymore.
Well, the gin and tonic was very popular at the party as well. I think I had 2, and you could see one up there, and I would agree. Probably the best gin and tonic I've ever had in my life.
And no, it really was good. And I'm just looking at the different food items here. And then they have a bread. It's got the tomato on it, and it's like a crispy bread. And I thought that was really good. And these are olives that are liquefied, and that is not as much for me. But others really love them. And these are roasted sweet onions with pine nuts and blue cheese. And I don't really I eat onions all the time, but the rest of it, not as much, but
This
it really
looks
went
great
well.
actually
It
for
was
me
very
because I
nice.
like the blue cheese and I like onions too. So I didn't get a chance to try that at the party.
These are the chicken fritters on a pillow, and like Cinderella's shoe was on. And they were very creamy. And then we're also going to look at boiled octopus. And this includes peewee potatoes. The potatoes are really good. I don't eat seafood. And you can see that red color comes, it's like from a paprika.
Boy, that octopus looks so good. I would have had both of our portions had I been there.
I'm sure. And so this head-on shrimp dish I think it's a nicely sized portion. You know, this is like tapas. It's shared plates, but that's actually really big, and I think enough for an entree.
Talk about a shared plate.
Yes, that's the paella. That was the vegetable one. It included mushrooms, and I took a photo of them adding it to a dish, and I thought that was, again, really nice. And if you head to Jaleo, I think that's definitely something worth getting. And this was probably my favorite item of the meal, and it's a surprise to me because it's pork, and I don't really eat pork except occasionally bacon and a tiny bit of pork belly. But this is a skirt steak from is it Iberico pig, black-footed pig, and it is delicious. And it is just one of the most amazing things. Like, I just kept eating it, be like, okay, one more piece, one more piece, one more piece. But I definitely recommend that. And those are part of a lot of what we had is in the Jose's Way tasting menu. So I just wanted to mention that.
I recognize this. It is the sangria. Although I do prefer the gin and tonic, this was a very solid drink for me.
I think for me, I would get the gin and tonic. I just thought that was such a great drink. So this is the flan. It's very creamy. It's orange. This was my favorite of the desserts. I think we're showing all 4 desserts that I tried. But the flan itself, I think, is Jose's mom's recipe and is delicious. And this is like a goat cheese cheesecake. I didn't try it. I didn't try everything.
I think you're a bit full at this
I
point.
was really full by now. This is a grapefruit dessert. It really wasn't as much for me because I'm not into grapefruit. But I mentioned the tasting menu. So if you want to try a bunch of different items, that is a great way to do it. It's, and to keep the cost at a certain amount where you know how much you're spending. And Jaleo is a big surprise for me because I wasn't sure if there was going to be as much food for me because I'm a little picky of an eater, but everything was fantastic.
So now we're going to move over to Disney's Fort Wilderness, and we're on a boat now on our way to check out the progress at the former River Country area.
And you were with your parents on this one.
Yes, I had a very nice visit with them. 5 days in a row of Disney World goodness.
That's a lot. And so you were on the boat, and what's coming here is called Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge. It's a DVC resort, but it's really a mixed-use resort. I think it's going to be like part DVC, part not DVC. It's scheduled to open in 2022, so we're still looking at about 3 years away with 900 rooms. And River Country was the first water park at Walt Disney World. You used to go there. I did not really go there.
Did you ever go there?
I probably went like once. I'm not really a big water park person, so it wouldn't have been something that attracted me over to Fort Wilderness. I love Fort Wilderness for itself.
Well, you can see it's really, really leveled. I mean, this location, the exact location of the lagoon is where apparently this DVC resort is going to be. And you can see where the grass is. That's where they sort of had they called it a water purifying dam, and that was supposed to keep the water. It didn't change the color of the water, but it kept the fish and it kept out and it kept it sort of fresh for swimming. And now we have taken the boat going back so we can get one more little look. And then we're going to take a look at what it looked like just 1 year ago. But you can see they've really cleared this out. I think they're going full force to get this land leveled.
And River Country opened in June of 1976. And it closed in late 2001, although I think it was a number of years before they actually said, okay, River Country is not coming back.
Yeah.
And I think around the same time as Discovery Island, which I did go to occasionally. But this is really history that's kind of going away. Although, Disney makes new history and eventually new things come and then it's okay.
Well, I mean, this has been closed for over a decade, maybe 2 decades, so for a very long time. But they've also taken away the building where Mickey's Backyard Barbecue, and we went to the very last show
The
on
pavilion.
on the pavilion. Oh, and you're seeing some final remnants of the slide, and I'm going to show you some pictures of River Country when it was opened. So take note of those rocks there. Those rocks you're going to see just a little bit later, right next to where the two slides that were up on this hill used to be built. So,
Almost 20 years.
20
2001.
years.
Yes.
Wow, it's been a long time. So it doesn't hurt as bad because it's been gone for so long. But I will miss the area where the backyard barbecue was, and the original horse stables where we saw the Headless Horseman last year and all that. That was awful nice too.
Well, there were still parts of River Country that were there again. The pavilion, I think, had been part of River Country. And right, the stables are going away. I don't know exactly what's going to happen back there once everything is done.
So this is what it looked like just 1 year ago. My good friend Captain Curious Axel was driving the pontoon boat, and he wanted to see this up close. I'm so glad we got a chance to do this. And there's, you can see the top of that rock work, and all that's left is that little tiny bit that we just pointed out before. But what a difference! 1 year ago, I mean, it did look like it still did back in the past. You could see that they had lights there. You had a big walkway, and I remember this very clearly, even though it must have been at least 25 years ago since I enjoyed that water park.
And when did you start going to it?
Right when it opened. I mean, that was, I think, the first or second year my parents brought us there, and they liked it. We were staying at Fort Wilderness at the time, so it was a family thing. And then we started to go all the time. I went through some photo albums after this, and I kept noticing different groups of pictures from River Country with my family. So we must have gone there a lot.
And I mean, your parents love the water parks, and you like water parks, but they'll come here.
They just bought the water park pass, so they went 5 straight days to the water park. So here is a young me at the top of one of the slides here, getting ready to go down and end up in that water, that murky water that you just saw.
Was it murky?
It was very murky. And even though they said there was no fish, there was still fish, little tiny fish that made their way into the lagoon. And there I am again, and you can see that's all there was separating it was that one little area. And there's a close-up, and you can see there's 2 floats. So you were able to go and swim in this little area and lay on these green floats. It was fully allowed. Now there are signs you don't even touch, don't get near the water. So what a difference it was back in those days.
And while this was the first Walt Disney World water park, I feel like I've read in the past that this is also an early water park just in general. I mean, water parks weren't a big thing back then. I don't know when Wet n Wild opened on International Drive, but I just don't think they were a thing too much yet back then.
And here is where the slide ended up going into the water, and those are those rocks. So as of about 4 or 5 days ago, that's all that was left were those rocks that you're seeing right there. And all those people in the back, they're holding tractor trailer tubes, and they were used to go down one of the first, it was a lazy river type of thing, but more of a rapids thing. So very different. And now you're looking at a bunny. It's the Easter Bunny. Hello, Mr. Bunny. And this is just perfect because you were at the Magic Kingdom and you met Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny yourself, all alone.
Just briefly, and I want to mention, Jeff has like thousands and thousands of vintage photos. I mean, people call themselves historians, and some people are, but Jeff is, and he doesn't. You don't even call yourself one, but he has so much stuff, documents and photos. So anyway, here is Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny.
I'm so proud. Look at you taking pictures, meeting the bunnies. Very good job there.
Well, you were busy with your parents, so I went and said hello to them just so that we'd have a little bit of footage.
As you saw, we met the real bunny. My parent and I.
Yes. And so anyway, the Mr. and Mrs. Easter Bunny are on Main Street, well, in Town Square, through April 21st, which is Easter Day, and we'll be doing all the Easter activities this weekend at the Magic Kingdom.
You really took one for the team because you also had to try out the Mouseketeers cupcake all by yourself.
The jumbo red velvet cupcake. I didn't eat the whole thing. I couldn't. I mean, this is such a huge cupcake, but it's
Look at
fun.
that.
Every so often we'll try the cupcakes, and I've been wanting to try this one, and it's really good. If you go to the Starbucks on Main Street, you can't redeem a reward, but you can earn a reward. So anytime I can get, if we're going to get a dessert, I really prefer to go to Starbucks. At least I get some kind of reward out of
Look
it.
at that. That looks really good.
It was
I am getting hungry for dessert.
It was really good, and but very thick, and I really enjoyed. I like buttercream, so I really enjoyed that. Now we're on the People Mover.
And you got some footage here. I think your idea was to show the construction of Tron.
Right. I wrote it twice. First, I just wrote it for enjoyment. It wasn't too crowded. And I wanted to see the Tron area. So I took some pictures, and then I'm like, okay, I'll just go back and get some video, because why not ride the People Mover again, because I love it.
Yeah, why not? Indeed.
So right now we're passing by the Tomorrowland Speedway, which is closed. And I think that it will reopen this summer. I think they're redoing the track a little bit. The nice thing is we're still going to have a Tomorrowland Speedway, just like we're still having Space Mountain, and we're going to have Tron. So Tomorrowland's really going to kick butt, in a couple of years.
But look at the footprint. Look at how big this area is. And this is the first time I'm seeing it from the People Mover, and it is much bigger than I thought it would be.
And the plan is for the Tron attraction, just like they have it in Shanghai Disneyland, to come here in time for the 50th anniversary in 2021, so in a couple of years. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And I see we have Abby Mallard and Chicken Little. Did you tell them you were a big fan? You just saw their movie recently?
You know what? I had never seen the movie before. I didn't think it was that good. It's that terrible. I didn't enjoy it that much.
You insulted them greatly.
So this is Jim, the piano player, and I stopped just to say hello to him, and we really should do that for a longer period of time. He's been there since 1983. I was 17 in high school and going to Walt Disney World at the time, so it's amazing the history. So definitely stop by and say hi to him next time you're at the Magic Kingdom if you haven't.
And you mentioned my my little collection of pictures, and when I was going through them, I found a picture of him from 1990.
You should bring that and show it to him.
So we should have him autograph that. I need to
should.
bring that next time we go to the Magic Kingdom.
That's this weekend.
That's right, for the Happy Easter pre-parade. Anyway, now it's time for the Disney Skyliner. We're over here at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, and here they come. It's the Skyliners coming in at full force. This has been a big week for Skyliner news.
Right, and I just want to mention, though, do you know what I'll remember this day for?
I do not.
I will remember it because this one is when we found out for sure we were going to be in Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, yes.
At Disneyland on June 2nd.
I remember you came running to me all excited, so that's very good.
So when I see these Skyliners, that's what I think about. The gondolas will be 11 miles an hour. We've learned some facts about them. There's going to be a total of 300 gondolas for the Disney Skyliner. It's possibly August for cast members to start testing them, so it's a little ways away. I don't know when they would actually open. They're supposed to open in fall, and there's crosshair ventilation. Up to 10 guests can sit on benches. I don't know if there'll be standing room.
10 in each?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. That I did not know.
And
wow.
Is that a lot or not a lot?
Well, think about that. 10 people in one gondola.
It doesn't sound like much to me.
No, it sounds like a lot. To me, they look tiny. They look like you'd fit maybe 6 or 8.
And I was surprised at the times on these. The longest time is Caribbean Beach to Epcot is supposed to be like 15 minutes, which surprised me. But not all of them, like Caribbean Beach to Disney's Hollywood Studios says 6 to 7 minutes. Caribbean Beach to Pop Century, less than 6. Caribbean Beach to Riviera is about 5 or a little less. So just a variety of different times on these.
Well, I mean, they chug along pretty good. And I know that they as we've watched the testing, they go at various speeds. But right here, they have a pretty good speed. I think they're just a tiny bit slower now from when we first got there.
And certainly, like a Caribbean Beach to Epcot, that's the quickest way you're going to go. The quickest way won't be a bus or your car. It will be just, jumping on the Skyliner and heading on over.
Well, I can't wait for this. I think it's very exciting. It looks like we just saw some pictures of the inside of the carts
from
today.
The Orlando Sentinel.
Yeah, so I think we'll be able to get nice pictures, especially out of the sides here where the doors are, because it's just clear. There's no ventilation holes in them.
So we're talking about Phantom Manor as well. Phantom Manor is reopening finally on May 3rd. It kept getting changed, and we didn't know if it would keep getting changed. So.
Well, it went down January 7th of 2018. So, as you said, that's well over a year of it being closed.
Right, almost a year and a half, but I'm very excited that it is back. And we had Roni was over at at the Inside Ears event, and Tom Fitzgerald was speaking. He is a Imagineer, and he was talking all about Phantom Manor.
So we thank Roni and, of course, Curious Axel for helping him out, getting this footage. So let's listen now on all the details of the reopening of Phantom Manor.
We have a very special guest with us today who will be talking to us about the reimagining of Phantom Manor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Fitzgerald, who's the Portfolio Creative Executive at Walt Disney Imagineering.
Bonsoir. I'm so excited to be with you tonight to talk about Phantom Manor. Our Imagineering teams have been dying to share what we've been up to inside the Manor. I think you've already seen a taste of what's to come. For the first time, the Phantom Manor show will be presented in French and English, with the English performed by the late great Vincent Price. It's something that the fans have been asking for years, and we're excited to finally be able to bring that performance back into Phantom Manor. I don't know how many Phantom Manor fans there are out here. Some? Me too. When I was growing up, Halloween was always my favorite holiday. I loved going to haunted houses, and when I heard that Walt Disney was creating a haunted mansion, I could not wait to see it. And in 1969, which was the year it opened, I went to see it as a small child, of course. And years later, I had the fun of working the Haunted Mansion attraction at Walt Disney World. I know, it's a long time ago. I'm the aging man now. And always dreamed of adding magic to the Haunted Mansion in Florida. And years later, as an Imagineer, I got to work with our teams to add new magic to Walt Disney World and bring the Hatbox Ghost to Disneyland. And now it's time for Phantom Manor. So let's talk about some of the things you might get to see when you come and see Phantom Manor, which I think we announced tonight as being May 3rd. We start with storytelling and Imagineering, of course, and what we wanted to do with Phantom Manor in this reimagining was to go deeper into the story of the Phantom, of the bride in waiting, and those unfortunate suitors that tried to take her hand. So you will see that we have in our portrait gallery all new portraits of 4 of the unfortunate suitors that tried to marry Melanie. And with some new illusioneering magic, we're going to take her out of the picture, and we're going to reveal as the room stretches down what ending came to each of these characters. Oh, this guy's name is Barry Claude. I think you can figure out what happened to him. In the portrait hallway that follows this scene, we created a whole new series of portraits, trying to imagine what would Henry Ravenswood have? What art would he have purchased if he was the wealthiest man in Thunder Mesa? And so, of course, he would have Western pictures and pictures of sailing ships, but of course he would have a portrait of himself. And one of the things that guests will learn in Phantom Manor when it reopens is that Henry Ravenswood is the Phantom. He is the father of Melanie. No man was ever good enough for his daughter. And so one by one, all of the suitors seem to disappear. You'll see more of Melanie and the Phantom in the attraction as you go through. You know this as the load scene of the attraction. It's been brought to life, this beautiful color scene now, and Melanie is now standing at the top of the stairs, staring out into the storm, looking for what? To be determined. The music room that you know now features wreaths of all of the suitors who passed away. There's new animation of the Phantom playing a very minor chord version of the Wedding March. Madame Leota, that you know, has been reimagined through it's the original footage of Madame Leota, but we've used some new Imagineering techniques to make her more lifelike than ever. In the boudoir, the Phantom is always lurking behind Melanie, and now in the mirror you will see mysteriously he's lurking behind Melanie. And of course, the town scene at the end of the attraction has been completely redone. All of the figures have been reanimated, repainted, new illusions, and some that have been brought back to life that have been missing for quite some time, including, of course, the druggist scene, which is now in a brand new look that's really quite fun, and the card game is back. And of course, at the end, the Phantom has a spot for you if you'd ever like to make permanent residency in Phantom Manor. At the end of our story, we're going to see that all of those suitors have been walled up in the mausoleum of the manor, but Barry, who you saw earlier, just can't help himself. He still wants to marry Melanie, and so he has burst through his mausoleum with the ring, hoping to take her back. Of course, Melanie, who's been trapped in the mansion all of these years, has perhaps gone a bit stir-crazy, you might say. And so in the final scene of the attraction now, she is going to reach out to you to see if you might want to marry her.
Will you marry me? Et toi, veux-tu m'épouser?
It's up to you to decide if you really want to do it. On the outside, everything at Phantom Manor has been completely rebuilt. I mean, to have something that looks like it's dilapidated and yet be brand new takes a lot of skills of our Imagineering team. And some of you may have realized we also added a gazebo for entertainment to do meet and greets. And I think even right now, Mickey is out there in his Phantom attire for the guests, which is great to have a space with Jack Skellington and other characters throughout the year to now have a place for photo ops with you. Of course, something like this takes a lot of people. Hundreds of people worked on Phantom Manor to bring it back to life. We're excited to show this to you starting May 3rd. You'll see much of what you've loved forever, but some new special effects and ghostly magic that we hope you'll enjoy. And we'll look forward to sharing that with you soon. So thank you so much.
Well, that looks very interesting. Now we have some answers to the questions that we've always had going through the attraction.
I'm really looking forward to it, although we probably won't see it till September. So all I can say is if you can dream it, you can do it. And if you've ever heard that terminology, that is who created it, is Tom Fitzgerald, not Walt Disney. It's everywhere with Walt Disney's name on it. But I'm so excited. I think it looks like they did a fantastic job with it.
I agree. Good things come to those who wait, and we've all waited long enough.
And we're gonna wait for
a
a while.
Longer. But we'll have full coverage thanks to our good friend Roni out there and Curious Axel, who are both attending a special preview event on the 30th of this month. Can you believe it?
No, I wish we could be there for it. But right now we are supposed to be at a Fan Days type event in September. We just bought tickets, so
we can't complain. We are going to Galaxy's Edge, as you just said earlier.
Yes, well, that is June 2nd. We're supposed to be seeing that, so at Disneyland.
And believe it or not, that is another show.
That's another show.
Thanks to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
There's so much happening, not just this year, but in coming years, but especially this year with the Galaxy's Edge opening on both coasts. And then special Halloween activities now at DCA.
Phantom Manor
at Disneyland Paris. Plus, they're having the Lion King and the Jungle Show, The Jungle and the Lion King. You know what? It's very hard for me to remember that name. But they're having a Lion King themed event at Disneyland Paris. And then they have Halloween and they have Christmas. So Disneyland Paris is incredible.
So you mentioned before, we'll be back to the Magic Kingdom this weekend. It is Easter around here. Oh, actually, it'll be Easter everywhere. But for us, that means Magic Kingdom, the Easter pre-parade there at the Magic Kingdom. And then we'll hopefully be able to go around and meet some characters on Easter Sunday. It's a tradition of ours.
And that's a little bit of what we'll talk about on the next show. I don't know everything we're going to talk about yet, but we're not going to have it be a whole Easter show because Easter will be over. So that will be just a little bit of what we talk about.
So we're not 100% sure, as you said, what we're doing next week. But whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be good. It'll be great. Anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.